Hey guys, it's Drew again. They say the best stories are worth repeating, and I've got a great one. Now, I did share this on my channel almost 4 years ago when I first started my channel, but most of you guys weren't around, and I bet the majority have never heard it. So I figured I'd share it again. You want to find out what one it is? Well, stick around and let's check it out. So I believe the original title on that video was the oldest item in my collection and how I ruined it. And I'll just re-share the story again. So it's not a baseball card, but it is a baseball related item. And I'll tell you even how I got it. So years and years ago, I was on Net54 and I love looking at this and finding and learning. It was that brand new sort of exposure of online information. This was probably 2011 when I first got on there. And they have a little section there in their buy, sell, trade area where people auction stuff off. And somebody had something for auction, and it's just an open auction. You put in a bid, and after the ending time, if you're the high bidder, you're done. Well, I thought this was really neat. I thought there's no way I'll get it, but I stuck a bid in of $19. Well, little did I realize I was the high bidder. I won this thing for $19. So I want to share what this is. And what it is it's a woodcut. And a woodcut from Harper's Weekly. So if you don't know what Harper's Weekly is, it was a weekly kind of newspaper that would do news and stuff and regional or national types thing. And it was kind of like a precursor to magazines. And what a woodcut was is they couldn't mass produce pictures that fast in just newspaper print, just by printing it off the sort of way they would do it now. And what they would do is they would actually literally take a piece of wood and they would artists would carve negatives into the wood, and then they would use that solid piece of wood, put ink on it, and they would stamp the paper. And they would do this until finally the wood got so saturated with ink or just broke down and the fibers start to break, and they could only print so many. But these things are called woodcuts. So it's literally pressed on from a negative relief from a piece of wood. And so the piece that I have was a woodcut, a Harper's Weekly woodcut, and the year is from 74. So, I mean, it predates the oldest card I have in my collection by 14 years. And so what it is it says, the American baseball players in England match between the Red Stockings and the Athletic, Prince's Ground, Hampton. And you can see it. Now, it's a great picture. And it just shows, 1800s baseball at its finest. I love the background, way out there, the smoke of the factories and the church. And I'll just keep kind of spanning around, but you can see, the players on the ground with the old bats and the umpire standing. You can see how the catcher is standing straight up with the left-handed batter. And I love this piece. And I'll even show the date if I can find it again. It's over on this corner. And you can see right there, 1874. So that's it. Now I made this frame, and I took some old oak from a piece of a bench actually, and it was all weathered and stuff, and I thought it would look cool, and I made this two-sided glass frame. Now the reason I made it two-sided was, like I said, this was a newspaper print, so I wanted to see the back too, and the back is basically kind of like classifieds. It's got personal stuff and anecdotes and a little article and some scientific stuff. And there's actually some jokes. And these jokes are not that funny. So I'm going to read one to you, and you want to see what high humor that was printed back in 1874. I don't even know if I can repeat this thing because it's so just weird. But hold on just a second. Let me find it. Okay, I found it. Let's see if I can actually read this to you. And maybe I should have you guys put in the comments, what does this mean? Because I still don't get it. But this was a joke from 150 years ago. So the latest instance of curing is the announcement by a Western voluntary surgeon in brandy is a remedy for the staggers. Yeah, I don't get it either. But anyway, that was a joke from way back then. So, yeah, but September 12th, 1874. And it's really cool. Now, the story behind it, as you can see, outside of the cool artwork and the frame that I made, you can see there's this massive water stain on it, which is not super super uncommon, when you find stuff that's that old. But when I actually bought this for $19, there was no water stain. And what had happened was I had made this frame. It was hanging on a wall. And unbeknownst to me, we had a leak and water had run down the wall. And because this was sandwiched between two panes of glass, water just soaked in. And it would be surprising, probably not to many people, how fast newspaper that's 150 years old will soak up moisture. And this thing was sopping wet, and I had to disassemble the entire frame. And once I did, I took it out, dried it off as best I could, got it flat, and it's not too bad that way, but it did leave this terrible, terrible water stain. But, you know, it makes it look aged. It's just the paper, while it's 150 years old, the stain is about 7 years old. So, but anyway, I thought this was a neat piece. And I realized that, you know, some of you guys who've been around with me since the beginning of my channel have seen this before. I told the same dumb joke and I didn't get it back then when I made it. But for most people have never heard it before. So if you've seen it, now you get to see it again. If you haven't, tell me what you think. I mean, do you have anything that old? Is that kind of something that would fit in your collection? If you're a vintage card collector, do you look for stuff like this that's just kind of like, man, that's really cool? And for 19 bucks, yeah, I think most of us would probably take it. But it's really neat. I think it's a cool piece. I'd love to get something else like this. I love not just cards, but just things that were all baseball related, because baseball was just such a passion for the country. And unfortunately, in the last few years, it just seems to not be in the center like it was even when I was a kid, or a lot of you guys. But at least in 1874, I mean, it was a big deal to have a full print ad where someone literally carved a negative into a big chunk of wood to be able to press it on the paper. I think that's just cool how they made it, how in the industrial age to do something like that. And so if you see old newspapers, and they've got a lot of them out there, and it's got pictures like this, or has pictures of teams or different things, or even non-baseball stuff, and you hear the term woodcut, now you know what a woodcut is. So I think it's really neat. So anyway, tell me what you think. I just thought I'd share it with you today. I appreciate you coming along as always. And until next time, you guys be good.